I sat on my porch this morning, watching the mist rise from the valley, and it struck me. I am 80 years old. In the stillness of this house, the silence isn't just emptiness anymore. It's filled with memories, filled with voices that no longer speak. Over the last 8 decades, I've watched the world transform. But more importantly, I've watched the people disappear. Parents, siblings, my closest friends, and the person I thought would be beside me until the very end. They are all gone now. When you reach this age, you become invisible in a world that belongs to the young. You see them rushing, anxious about things that from where I'm standing look insignificant. They ask me, "What is it like?" Or they look at me with sympathy, as if being the last one remaining is somehow tragic. But there is something about being 80 that no one tells you until you arrive here. When everything and everyone is stripped away, what remains isn't just emptiness, it's clarity. If you're younger than me, listen carefully. If you're my age, sit with me a while. Today, I want to tell you about the things that don't disappear, the things that endure when the house is silent and the phone stops ringing. This is what remains. The first thing I learned is that we never truly possess anything or anyone. In my 40s and 50s, I believed my life was defined by what I had accumulated. My career, my house, my standing. I protected those things as if they were eternal. But at 80, I look at my hands and realize they are empty. And that is acceptable. I've watched the homes I lived in be sold to strangers. I've watched my professional accomplishments be forgotten by people who weren't even alive when I retired. What remains isn't the award on the shelf. It's the character you developed while pursuing it. I realize that the people we love are only borrowed. We don't possess our spouses or our children. We are simply caretakers of their time for a brief period. When you stop trying to hold on to people and start simply being with them, the sorrow of their departure transforms. It shifts from feeling robbed to feeling grateful for the loan. What remains is the love you offered, because that is the only thing that doesn't decay or get auctioned off. When you're young, you anticipate the significant moments, the wedding, the promotion, the grand journey. You spend your life gazing at the horizon. I realized that life isn't constructed from the mountain peaks. It's constructed from the path between them. If I could return, I wouldn't pursue more achievement. I would pursue more awareness. I would stay longer over a cup of coffee. I would listen to the birds with more intention. What remains at the end of a long life is a collection of small, beautiful moments that turned out to be everything. One of the most difficult parts of watching everyone depart is the solitude. We are a generation that was taught to stay occupied. But when the children moved away and the friends passed on, I was left with a stranger, myself. Most people spend their lives avoiding themselves. They use noise, work, and relationships to silence their own thoughts. But at 80, you can't avoid it anymore. Your body won't allow it. So you sit. And in that sitting, I discovered a strength I didn't know existed. What remains is your internal foundation. If you haven't cultivated a relationship with yourself, old age will be frightening. But if you have, it becomes a refuge. I've learned that I am sufficient. I've learned to forgive the person I was at 25 and 50. What remains is a quiet acceptance of the person in the mirror. You realize that you were your own closest companion all along. You just didn't recognize it. People ask me if I have regrets. Of course I do. Only a fool or a dishonest person claims they don't. But at 80, there is a distinction between regret and remorse. I regret the risks I didn't take. I regret the expressions of love I kept hidden because of pride. But what remains and what is most painful is remorse for the times I wasn't compassionate. We expend so much energy being correct. We argue, we hold resentments, we defend our egos. But as I watched the names in my phone book get crossed out one by one, I realized that being correct is the loneliest triumph in the world. What remains is the understanding that kindness was always the right answer regardless of the disagreement. If you have someone to contact today, contact them. Not to resolve a dispute, but to say, I'm grateful you exist. Because one day they won't be here, and the dispute won't matter at all. There is a strange grace in watching the world continue without you. I see the teenagers with their technology, their new language, their frantic pace. Initially, it made me feel resentful. I felt like the world was abandoning me behind. But then I realized it's supposed to. What remains is the role of the observer. I am here to witness the cycle persist. I see my grandson's eyes, and I see my father's eyes staring back at me. I see that I am just one thread in a very long fabric. My role now isn't to direct the parade, but to applaud from the sidelines. There is immense liberation in releasing the need to be significant. What remains is the satisfaction of watching life regenerate itself, knowing that a fragment of my story is interwoven into theirs. So what remains when everyone has departed? Gratitude. A powerful, heartbreaking gratitude for the sheer impossibility of it all. That I got to exist. That I got to love even if I lost. That I got to witness 29,200 sunrises. I'm 80, and I'm not afraid of the darkness anymore because I've realized that the light never truly disappears. It just transfers to the next space. If you're hearing this, don't wait until you're 80 to discover what remains. Search for it now. It's in the breath you just inhaled. It's in the person sitting across from you. It's in the stillness of your own heart. Thank you for sitting with me on this porch for a while. If this resonated with you, share it with someone you care about. Subscribe to join us for more reflections on the journey of life. And please leave a comment. Tell me, what is one thing you've learned to treasure as you've grown older? I read them all. It makes the house feel a little less silent.